call the meeting to order at 11:30. Dr. Ball?
Yes, Roger's going to lead us in the invocation and the pledges. Everybody can please stand.
Thank you. Lord, we place our work and ourselves into your hands. Anoint our creativity, our ideas, and our energy. When we are challenged, guide us. When we are weary, energize us. May our work and the way we do it bring hope, life, and courage to our community at Southwest ISD. Bless our administration with wisdom and discernment, and our employees with commitment and passion. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Brandon, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
Yes, we do. And let me read over these rules of engagement before we start. When addressing the audience during the public forum, speaker's commentary must adhere to the following. Everyone must model courtesy and respect. Speakers shall not employ profane or threatening language, nor shall they engage in any personal attacks. The public has the right to make critical and harsh remarks. However, the expectation is that the message delivered by the speaker is done in a constructive manner with a collaborative purpose. Speakers are expected to respect both the decorum of the public meeting and the authority of the board. The Board of Trustees requests that derogatory or inflammatory statements and personal attacks on individuals be avoided. Caution should be exercised in publicly attacking specific individuals. In accordance with Board Policy BED Local, the board shall not deliberate or respond to any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Speakers who have signed up to speak on specific agenda item must focus their own comments on their posted agenda. We have Yolanda Garza Lopez, person who signed up to speak to the general public comments this evening. You have 3 minutes to make your public comments, ma'am.
Good morning. We're here attending a meeting where the agenda includes consideration, discussion, and possible action on handling election complaints filed against board members. Pete and I are here to witness, ensure transparency, and hold this board accountable for any actions it takes that are not in the best interest of the entire community. New board members. When I got on this board 15 years ago, I was like you. I trusted the leadership of this board to always do the right thing. It took years of training, observation, asking questions, and pushing back to realize that trust was misplaced. Some board members have consistently demonstrated a disregard for rules, enforcing them selectively and failing to apply them to themselves under the pretense that this is the way things have always been done. Pete and I tried to have conversations about many subjects that were questionable at best and corrupt at worst. At the end of the day, this board decided that it was easier to replace us than it was to hear us. Why? Because it is hard. It's hard to recognize, acknowledge, confront, and do better. It is easier to block, ignore, silence, and shut down dissenting voices. This meeting, called at an inconvenient time with a vaguely worded agenda item buried among routine business, raises questions. Remember that conducting discussions behind closed doors and then pretending to have them publicly before voting is wrong and against the rules. Beware of the lawyer's assertion that you can do whatever you want. You are the board. While momentarily true, there are agencies capable of holding you accountable, as Pete and I have discovered. The Texas Education Agency, the Texas Ethics Commission, the Secretary of State, and the District Attorney can and will intervene if necessary. Just because it has always been done this way does not make it right or legal. And keep in mind that every action y'all take provokes a reaction from us. You want this to stop? It's simple. Do what is right. The wheels of justice may turn slowly, but they will grind away. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Moving on to, is there nobody else, Brandon?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Moving on to item 4, change order number 1 for the central office abatement project.
Before we continue, may I ask if the board, we want to provide lunch? If the board would like to get their lunch, and then we can continue?
We'll, Roger, we'll take a short recess and we'll get our food and then I guess everybody else.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have to hit this?
Yes, please.
We're gonna come back from break at 11:42. And then we'll go to agenda item 4, consider approval of change order number 1 for the central office abatement project.
Yes, ma'am. As American Abatement was the contractor approved for the asbestos abatement at the central office that was leading up to the demolition for the new central office building. During the process of that project, there were 2 areas that were found to have asbestos-containing materials in the floor mastic that were not originally put into the bid. So it was just over 1,000 square feet in 2 separate areas. Clean Environments reviewed it, verified that it was a hot material, quantified the footages, and then we asked American Abatement to provide us with a change order for that additional work. That change order number 1 is for the amount of $6,390 and would be funded from the 2023 bond funds like that project was. So we are asking for the board to approve change order number 1 to American Abatement for the amount of $6,390.
Board member? We have First from Daniel, second from Flo. Are there any questions? No, there being none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Thank you. Item 5, consider approval of Southwest High School Stadium new video board structure.
Yes, ma'am. So during the process that all of the new video boards have been replaced at all of the varsity athletic stadiums and fields. The only thing that is lacking is the Southwest High School Stadium. The board is here, all of the parts and equipment are here. The problem we're having is that structure that's on the scoreboard currently was built in 1972. We don't really know, there are no drawings on it. It was all fabricated here in-house with the maintenance staff back then. No engineer was willing to stamp it and agree that it was acceptable for this new scoreboard. So with that process, Dektronics has designed a new steel structure, and as you know, that one has to be 19 feet to the bottom of the scoreboard because of the flooding issues that we have down there. So it's a little bit more extensive than the normal. We have received a quote from Generation Signs, who is a company that has worked for the district before and has done work on our arches. They are also the recommended company from Dektronics, who we have the contract with originally. They are doing all of the sign work as well for Dektronics. They're subbed through Dektronics, so that is the reason why we went to them for this pricing. So we are looking to recommend for the board to approve Generation Signs Incorporated to remove the existing structure and install the new video board structure for the amount of $62,682.
Board members?
Move. Second.
James Gonzalez makes the motion, James Sullivan seconds. Are there any questions? Being no questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Item 6, consider approval of summer work hours and wellness initiative.
Yes, Brandon has this one.
Yes, ma'am. This is to get approval from the school board to allow us to offer 2 options for our 40-hour work week during the summer for our 226 employees. This would be, option 1 would be to do 10-hour days, work Monday through Thursday. And the other option would be 8-hour days, and then the employee would use a vacation day on Friday. There's people that choose that option. In addition, this will allow us to initiate our wellness program, to allow our employees to have 1 hour of wellness, whether it's health, mental, whatever they'd like to do that would better state their mental health or their overall physical health. And then we would start June 7th. This would be the week after school's out. And then we would come back to work fully 5 days a week, July 29th, as we start bringing back more employees that are been off for the summer. And so today, we're asking the board to approve our summer hours work schedule and the wellness plan.
Are we going to be off the week of July 4th again? Like
Yes, that's
always?
it.
Okay.
Brenda, does everyone choose, or it's the same schedule for everybody?
So we do 10-hour, so we go Monday through Thursday, some of us choose 10 hours and then we're off on Friday, but some people like the 8 hours and so they use a vacation day instead on Friday because they don't want to work 10 hours a day. So those are the two options we give the employees. We have quite a few folks that choose the 8 hours and having the Friday off vacation.
We need a motion.
I move.
Daniel, who first? Mr. Diaz. Okay, any more questions? No, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. Consider approval of a third-party consultant for the district's medical insurance.
Yes, and Scott has this information. I know that he worked with the benefits department also.
Yes, good morning, board members, Dr. Ball. District staff would like to recommend the hiring of Brown & Brown Insurance to be the district's third-party consultant. As you know, the district will need to go into the insurance market due to our current provider, Humana, no longer offering this service. We interviewed 6 firms and ranked them based on their presentation. We took the top 3 firms and did a reference check on them. Some of our questions included, do you provide the same service for similar sized districts? And we also asked about their customer service and their involvement with the district. So Brown & Brown came away as our top choice, and we'd like to recommend them. Thank you.
Board members, do you have any questions?
When do we have to make, or how soon should we make that change over from Humana?
So Humana has told us that they were, as of December 31st, they no longer will be supporting entities, school districts. So we don't want to change in December because everybody's used to our cycle starting September 1. So the plan is to bring in the consultant, help us bid out our medical, and provide a new medical plan going into next school year, so starting in September 1st. So we'll be up through Humana through August 31st, and then whatever provider we decide on, because we'll come back to the board with Brown & Brown to after we do bids and go through the process and offer a product to the board to approve to go and start enrolling for next year.
What are the products that Humana was in charge of? Or
Just our medical and our pharmaceutical.
Okay. I second.
Did you get that, Mona? Okay. Any other questions? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Thank you. Moving on to items of information, attendance update.
Yes, board members, we really worked on our attendance this year, and we're making some gains. And I know that the board, excuse me, that the board was very supportive financially. So we want to share with you, Ms. Garza wants to share in regards to how we're doing by campus and some of the gains that we're making. Good morning, board members, Dr. Ball, and senior leaders. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be here today to share with you the amazing initiatives that the campuses in the district have implemented to improve student attendance, and also to give you the progress that has been made so far. Throughout the year, we've learned many things, but one of the things that we've learned is that the key to improve attendance, or the key to anything actually, is to build relationships. Building relationships and effective communication in a timely manner. Okay, so I think that when we allow our stakeholders to give input and to give them information, it creates a positive environment. Okay. And it's through those relationships that we're able to motivate our staff and our students. So this year, as we took up on this initiative and building the relations, we built strong relations enough to find out what the barriers are that are keeping our kids at home and not showing up to school every day. And it's through those relationships that we're able to have those crucial conversations to find what is the root of the problem. So at this moment, I would like to share some attendance data that I have for you all. Do I press it? Okay, our current enrollment is 14,345 students. We have a gain of 581 students compared to last year's enrollment. Last year's attendance percentage was 90.70. Compared to this year's year-to-date attendance is 92.08. This is a gain of 1.38%. This is great news because not only have our enrollment numbers increased, our attendance continues to rise, or even many of our campuses continue to maintain their high attendance. What does this mean for us as a district? Well, if we look at the 1% point increase, think of it being equivalent to $1 million. So we're in a good position, okay? And thanks to our PEIMS department, this morning we found out that we're a little bit above, or slightly above the 1.38. We're closer to the 1.5, okay? That's even better news. Okay, so as I mentioned before, communication is the key. Communicating and keeping our campuses informed. So here we have two examples. One of the attendance dashboard. If you look at the attendance dashboards, I also left some copies on your, where you're sitting at your desk, so you can see closely on the improvement of each and every level that we have. But up top, I have the attendance dashboard, and this dashboard is a weekly dashboard that we share with our campuses on a daily basis. This shows the campus, it shows the campus enrollment, which is updated on a weekly basis, but it also gives them day-to-day attendance. On the yellow columns, we have the year-to-date, and then we have the previous year-to-date. In the last column, it'll give them the gain and loss. Below that is another tool that we put in place, and this is to look deeper into the attendance. And this will show you at any given time during the day when a kid is accidentally marked absent, or maybe was absent for one, present for another, but it shows the gaps. Here again, we have the elementary. You'll see all your elementary campuses. And if you see at the last column, the purple column, it has a range from 0.4%. It goes up to the highest percentage increase by Sun Valley, which is 2.49. Those are all your elementary campuses. Next, we have our middle school campuses. Same thing, you see your gain or loss. All campuses have increased. Then we have our high school campuses. Okay, again, we see a percentage of 0.6, and then we see a highest increase of 3.06. While all have increased, we have some campuses that have the highest percentage. We have Sun Valley with a 2.52 increase. We have McCullough with a 1.64 increase compared to last year. And then again, Southwest Legacy with the biggest increase at 3.08. Here I have the truancy prevention measures that we have in place. And please know that this is not the only prevention measures that we have. Okay, we also we still do home visits, we do phone calls. There's a lot of prevention measures in place before it gets to this. But the very first initiative that we take is a warning letter. A warning letter goes out after 3 unexcused absences. This is the first contact that we make with parents to inform them of their child's absences. Okay, last year we had 5,426 warning letters go out compared to this year's, at this time, around this time, 5,420. We attribute the increase to the improved practices that have been developed at the district and campus level. Okay, we try to find these kids early, okay, early so that no one falls through the cracks. Okay, so this is an initiative, everybody has bought in, everybody is looking out for these kids in the classroom, hallways, why are you not in class, so forth. So this is how this number, I think we're looking at it earlier, so that's why that number kind of has stayed the same. Okay, if you look at the second row, we have abatement hearings, and these are just conferences. Conferences that are between admin, parents, and students. Okay, again, because the warning letters lets our students know and parents know the importance of daily attendance and notify parents of possible attendance problems early on, this number has dropped. Last year we had 1,216 compared to this year 645. One of the last options or prevention measures that is in place is mediation hearings with San Antonio Municipal Court. We try to hit hard the warning letters, abatements, and every prevention measure in between so that we don't send our kids to mediation. So Last year, there was 481 kids that were sent to San Antonio Municipal Court. This year, we're at 316. Okay? But please know that out of the 316, we have only filed on 14 kids. Okay, so this is the step when they go to court, but even at court, it's not punitive. They give an explanation to the parent, they find what the root of the problem, and then that we're present to see what else can we do to support the families. Lastly, we have, and the most important is celebrating our kids. Okay, on the top left, we have Indian Creek with the initiative they take, and they like to celebrate their kids, and they created a game room. So did McCullough. They call it the Challenger Zone. Really, really nice. The kids love it, enjoy it, and they look forward to what challenge is coming up next so that we can meet it so we can get in there. Okay, you also have to the far right, top right, you have the what we call Southwest ISD Price Patrol. We have not only campuses taking initiative, but the district taking initiatives. And we set challenges up for our kids, and this little girl was a district winner, and Price Patrol stopped by and she chose the dollhouse. Okay, so she was really, really happy. On the bottom left, McCullough did also create a game room, but they call it La Tiendita because it's a mixture of two. So they have a section where it's a game room, and then they have a section where it's La Tiendita, and they also implemented currency. They call it the Rocket Bucks. So depending on how many days they show up, they earn money, and they learn how to count. So they're always in line at 7 in the morning. On Mondays and Fridays, they're in line to get into La Tiendita to buy, whether it's McCullough gear or even Legacy gear. Okay. Southwest Legacy took a different turn. They didn't necessarily create a game room, but they really like to build a relationship with the kids, and they did what they actually do field trips. Here you have where they took their kids that met the challenge for attendance, they went to a Spurs game, field trip. Then the last one on the bottom right is our Penguin Project. When this was put together, we kind of had a count of about 1,000 kids, and we went way past that. We had 3,000 kids that met the challenge, a little over 3,000 kids. As you can see, it was full. I think there was like four showings that they had to do. Our kids, it was a great experience for them. A lot of them had never been to a play. So this is our return on investment. It is incredible the strides that we have made. Increased enrollment numbers, rising attendance percentages, and having the means and the resources to create unforgettable memories for our kids. Because there's many kids in this community that probably never be to a Spurs game or never go to a play. Okay, and whenever we have a positive environment, our kids want to come to it. This would not be possible without the buy-in of all our stakeholders and without your support. So on behalf of all the campuses and our students, we thank you, the board and our superintendent, our senior leaders. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
That's outstanding. Thank you. That information is just what we were looking for. It looks like some of the schools, Indian Creek's almost there at the 2%. That's exciting. Sun Valley, props to Sun Valley. And whatever Roxy's doing over there at Legacy. Thank you. Y'all did awesome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, that's great.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Next, we have a presentation in regard to the teacher incentive allotment.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I'm like, awesome. Okay.
And Dr. McLennan is going to also share some brief highlights.
No, just press the. Can you see what I do?
Oh, you can, okay.
Hi, good afternoon, Board of Trustees,
senior staff, Dr. Ball, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm excited to share our TIA update with you and where are we now. So last year, we submitted our application to TEA and it was approved without any revisions. And so currently we are in data capture. The content areas that we are supporting through TIA for our first, for year 1 is K through 8 reading and math, English 1 and 2, and Algebra 1. So this year we're capturing data based on those content areas as we submit to TEA for validity. So these are the statewide performance guide designations for teacher incentive allotments. So as you can see here, the statewide percentages are there. So a recognized teacher who falls within the teacher incentive allotment really is in that top 33% of their peers. An exemplary teacher is at top 20% and a master level teacher is at a top 5%. The two pieces of information that we submit to TEA and Texas Tech for validity is the T-test observation, domains 2 and 3, so learning environment and instruction, that is what TEA asks for. So we submit the average scores for every teacher who teaches K through 8 reading and math, Algebra 1, English 1 and 2. We submit their T-test observation data, along with the MAP data. So if a teacher has 55% or more of her students or his students that meet their projected growth, so they've made a year's growth in their class, then they will be a recognized teacher and so forth. So 60% for an exemplary teacher and 70% for a master level teacher. We've been working really hard this year to ensure we're calibrated as a system so that both pieces of information truly do match, because if we don't match, then our data will not be deemed valid. So what does that mean? That means that if we have a teacher who only 22% of their students met their projected growth, however, their formal observation says that they are an accomplished or exemplary teacher, that doesn't match. Normally, if they're an exemplary teacher, then their growth data should match that. And so if we don't have that calibration, then our data will not be valid and reliable. But we are shooting for that not to happen so that all of our teachers can get checks next year. So at this point in time, and looking at the middle of year data for MAP and T-test observation data, we are looking at potentially designating 72 teachers across our system with the teacher incentive allotment. And so as you can see how that translates through this slide, it would be 8 recognized teachers at the high school, 11 at the middle school, 19 at the elementary for that recognized determination, 20 exemplary teachers, and then 14 master level teachers. Now these numbers could change by the end of the year. We could have more or less depending on where we fall with MAP growth data, but right now that's a middle of year projection. Are there any questions?
That's a lot of work.
It's exciting. And we just submitted yesterday our expansion and modification application, which will include social studies, 8th grade and world history, and then pre-K.
Oh,
It's exciting to know that a lot of our teachers are gonna finally be recognized like that.
Mm-hmm. With big checks.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
any other questions? No, thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Let's see, CTE internships.
Yes. Last month, we provided some information on our CTE internships, but this week, we want to give some data and some numbers with that goes along with that information.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, senior staff. Like Dr. Ball mentioned, I wanted to follow up on the data request from the internships from the previous presentation. So I wanted just to highlight some of the partnerships that we have internships with here in the district. I did want to celebrate one new internship that we've added since the previous one. So the newly acquired internship is with Texas Biomedical Research. the Valero Young Scientist Program, we had 8 students from Southwest High School that will be participating in that internship. Students will be able to get foundational lab and soft skills that will lead them to discover any opportunities with bioscience. Thank you to Ms. Valerie Gutierrez, our health science lead at Southwest High School, that was able to recruit the students, help them through the application process. So congratulations to the students, because this is going to be a life-changing experience. And we know that health science is an increasing industry, so we want to be able to support our community. So congratulations to that team. So I did want to show some of the historical data for the CTE internships, starting with 18-19. We have seen continuous gains throughout the years. Our largest gain has been from 2021 to 2022, where we saw a gain of 14. This year, we are projected to earn 55. I will show you the breakdown of where we're at this year. We are projected to have the 55. We still have 5 different opportunities that are still in process. So students are still applying, interviewing, and so we hope to increase that number of 55. We know that internships are a great opportunity for students, but we also wanted to kind of share some of the requirements that students need to be able to, or students need to be able to be, so that they can take advantage of these opportunities. One important criteria is that the internship is aligned to their program of study. So that alignment is key, and you'll see that moving forward as we look at some of the other slides. But these are some of the criteria that we have. As a district, one of our goals is to become an A district. So I did want to share some of the changes that are important to CTE. So again, one of the things is the alignment of the program of study. So that's one. The other one is going to be course completion. So in the past, industry-based certifications were not part of accountability, and now they are. So now for students earning an industry-based certification, it contributes to CCMR. And so the stakes will continue to increase for CTE. As we move forward, for example, this year, students, in order for students to earn a point, they'll have to be in an L2 course and earn an industry-based certification in an aligned program of study. So that will impact our current class this year. So as we move forward for class of 2025, students will need to be a concentrator. And so a concentrator means that students will need to earn 2 CT courses for 2 or more credits in an aligned program of study, and their industry-based certification also has to be aligned to that program of study. For class of 2026, they'll need to be a completer. So they'll need to complete and pass 3 or more courses for 4 or more credits in an aligned program of study and earn an industry-based certification that is aligned to their program of study. So our goal for CTE is to not only recruit, retain, earn an IBC, so that we all can contribute to our overall goal of being an A district. And let me tell you, the teachers, the administrators, the principals, our CTE team, they've all embraced the challenge, and they're all working towards, I'm sure there's teachers testing and prepping as we speak. It's happening more in the spring, you know, just because that's when the curriculum calls for it. But this is one way that as a CTE department, we are contributing to our overall district mission of becoming an A district. We also pulled some of the data because we wanted just to show a snapshot of our current juniors, and we looked at 4 different things. We looked at how many students had 18 credits, who had passed EOCs, who had taken an L2 course, and who had earned an IBC. So looking at those 4 criteria, we have 38 at CAST, 131 at Southwest High School, 40 at Southwest Legacy, with a total of 209 that right now meet the criteria. Thank you to PEAMS, to Ms. Doty, Ms. Sullivan and Mr. David for helping us collect all this data. So we just wanted to show you that snapshot. Our primary goal, of course, is to graduate our students, but we also know that students want to be part of fine arts, are also in athletics, so that also kind of takes away from their schedule options. So we just wanted to kind of share that information so that we could have a current snapshot of who, as of right now, would be eligible to be part of an internship. So this year we are on track to earn the 55, and our goal is always to maximize the number of internships. One idea that we thought would build upon the current summer CTE internships is to offer some during the fall and the fall and the spring. So these internships would be held at the campus, since we know that transportation can be a barrier, so that barrier would be removed. And so just looking at students working 15 hours a week during the months from September to May, where students would earn about $6,000 per year. Just want to let you know that the CTE teachers, the CTE admin, curriculum and instruction, we are all looking for different opportunities for internships. I know we got one from Mr. Stevens that we're scheduled to meet with. And so we appreciate anybody who knows of a contact, just let us know. But we thank you for your support, because we would not be able to do this without everyone in this room. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
I just want to say thank you for following up with this. This is what we're looking for. Thank you.
The question I had, you just answered. I was wondering if you guys are still out there looking for more, or if, you know, they're only coming to you. So thank you for that.
It's a mix, but we appreciate anybody who has any contacts. We'll reach out.
Thank you. Do you have any one more thing?
Yes, my one more thing is I wanted just to point out these wonderful things that the board received. This is part of what we're doing for our attendance. These are some postcards, some door hangers. You'll notice they're in English and in Spanish. Very eye-catching. Who doesn't love beautiful puppies?
Who doesn't?
You know, so you look at this and you want to read it, and it's all very eye-catching, and again, just part of the gains that we're making for attendance.
So,
And my last one more thing is again to congratulate Jenny Collier, her communications department, for an outstanding job with the casino night. She shared with me, and we'll put it in the Friday notes, they surpassed the amount from last year, so it was very successful. So thank you, Jenny, and to your staff.
okay, so we'll move on to item 9. It's closed session. As permitted by sections 551.001-551.146 of the Texas Government Code. Do I need to read the whole thing? No, right? We'll go into closed session at 12:14. Okay, we'll go back into open session at 12:44 p.m. Back to item 9. 10. There is no action for item A. Do we have any motions concerning item B?
I'd like to make a motion. I move that this board make a finding that there is legitimate public purpose to authorize Walsh Gallegos to aid in responding to election complaints filed against individual board members and district employees. As such, AID supports the district with continuing normal board district operations and helps the district in compliance with the laws of the state. I further move that the board make a finding that sufficient controls are in place to ensure the district public purpose is served. And finally, I move to authorize Walsh Gallegos to represent the individual board members and district employees against whom complaints have been filed arising from the May 2023 select school board elections.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any questions? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Motion carries. We have anything else? Okay. That does conclude all of our business. We will end the meeting at 12:45.